Alright, today I'm going to be doing the generic YouTuber thing and covering updates in a video game. We're going to be talking about Update 41, aka Scions of Ithelia. I think that's how you say it. We're past the 5-week mark, so we're not going to be getting any more PTS updates, and this is how the game is going to go and ship out live. And now, since all these changes are finalized, I can finally compile them all into one place, so that way you and I both know what's coming out on March 11th for PCs and March 26th for consoles. There's some pretty important changes coming with this update that I think you guys should know about, and also I haven't uploaded in a month, so I need to get back into the swing of things. So we're going to be talking about this update today. I got a Google Doc in front of me with some important stuff you need to know, and also some things I'd like to complain about in typical ESO content creator fashion, you know. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So right out the gate, the big change that they were trying to make sure everybody knew that they wanted to do was how status effects work. Spark notes of status effects, if you don't know how they work, basically you have damage types, and dealing a certain type of damage has the chance to apply an additional effect to your target based on how the damage was dealt and what dealt the damage. And of course, each status effect does a different thing, and in this update, they're making these changes because they want to take a lot of the focus off of the damage over time status effects and put more focus on the direct damage status effects. So basically what direct damage status effects are, for you guys that don't know, more spark notes, is whenever you do like flame damage, you apply a damage over time to your target burning, right? But whenever you do shock damage and you apply that vulnerability comes with some upfront damage that it also deals as well. So you do some extra charge damage basically whenever it's applied now. So what does that look like for Update 42? Well, so we're not here for 30 minutes. Chilled, concussed, diseased, hemorrhaged, overcharged, poisoned, and sundered have all been buffed, and the only one that has been nerfed is burning. So of course with these changes, you know, elemental susceptibility had to have been... Nope, it's still free to cast, and now it's borderline spammable. They tried to nerf Master's Dual Wield. I tested it. It now scales off your highest offensive stat, but the change to hemorrhaging makes it so it's like it never got nerfed in the first place, so the cringe still exists, unfortunately. Next, let's talk about the important class changes. So Necromancer got a change to its Stalking Blastbones morph. You know, the one morph on Necromancer that actually does any reasonable amount of damage. Instead of Stalking Blastbones, now you have a Blastbones that runs to you and buffs all of your class and damage over time abilities by 20%. If you want to use the old Blastbones, you have to use Blighted Blastbones now, and I mean, with the change to Defile, which now can affect shields, I mean, it's alright, but you're basically getting nerfed on Necromancer. I love how they give this change to Necromancer, where it's 20% damage to your class and damage over time abilities, instead of just giving them major brutality and sorcery. Like, I don't understand. I do not understand. And I further cease understanding as to why the Combustion passive has been reworked to one of its previous versions instead of keeping it the way it was. Now DK has better sustain and better pressure with burning and poison. And you thought we were done? No. Apparently Nightblade needs a buff because it's an underpowered class, so they're also reverting the change to Veiled Strike that they made a few patches ago. So it no longer gives you Major Berserk, but instead gives you its unique 10% damage buff, meaning you can stack it with Major Berserk. And on top of that, they're just buffing the damage that that ability does by 10% for no reason. Because it's like underpowered or something. They're also buffing in cap, so the duration that you do 20% more damage to your target lasts longer, and also if you cast it above 125 ultimate, you do 10% more damage with it. Oh, did I mention they're also adding Dark Deal to Nightblade? Yeah, they're changing how Siphoning Strikes works, so now you can sacrifice your health for magic and stamina. Normally, when you have an ability that costs health and gives you resources back, there's, you know, an additional cost associated with it. The Balance, for example, in the Mage's Guild skill line. Whenever you cast Balance, you get some magic back for the cost of health, but you also receive a penalty to your healing and your damage shield strength by 50% for like 3 seconds. That's not the case with Siphoning Strikes. You can just spam this to your heart's content with no repercussions at all, use one healthy offering, and get all your health back and do it again. You can fully reset a fight on Nightblade, and this will not be a problem for Nightblade at all, because Nightblade's an incredibly underpowered class and it needs a lot more buffs, honestly. And this change officially puts Nightblade above DK in terms of its ability for PvP. Like, there's no competition now between the two classes. Nightblade is just infinitely better now. There's also a few changes to Sork. The first one is Encase now as a burst heal. You still have the snare version if you want it, but it can be a burst heal now. It's really, really expensive, but it heals everyone in front of you and also applies minor vitality to you, so you can get some extra healing. Sorcerer's Damage Shield, Hardened Ward, is now also going to heal you for either 15% of your max health or max magic, whichever one is higher. This is a very interesting change, but I'm genuinely concerned about this going live because of how high you can get your max magic on Magsork, and also the fact that it's basically Arcanist Shield, but on steroids, so this might be a bit of a problem, but we'll see. As for the other classes, not too much is going on that's quite intense. The only thing I can really think of that's kind of stupid is that Power of the Light is getting nerfed again. It no longer applies Breach, it just applies Sundered up front, and that doesn't have as long of an uptime as Breach does, so I mean, there's that. Other things that are like mildly noteworthy are you can stack Siege now, which is pretty cool. The Infinite Archive now has its cool little style pages, and if you put all of them on your character, you somehow manage to get all of them, you get the cool little glowy effect that comes with the class set. I am really upset, though, that you cannot put any of the other styles on any other class. You can only wear the class-specific style on that specific class. You can't wear the Nightblade looking set on a Sork or any of that, so, I mean, for drip purposes, it's a loss. And, also, you get more Undaunted keys for doing vet daily dungeons, if they're, like, the Uleg Gringle idiot. Yeah, she gives more keys now if you do DLC dungeons. Now let's talk about the new sets coming in Update 41, alright? There are 3 new PvP sets coming out in Update 41. I'm not going to be talking about any of them because they're not super significant, but what I am going to be talking about are 3 specific proc sets coming out and Update 41 because they are quite obnoxious. So the first proc set we're going to look at is called Cinders of Anthelmere. This is from the new Oathsworn Pit dungeon, and it's a light armor set, and basically whenever you deal damage, you summon a moth that chases down your target and then explodes on them for a lot of damage. The moth is incredibly slow, however, so it can be easily outmaneuvered or, just dodged, and it does have a 1-second delay before it explodes, so you can just, move away from the moth before it explodes. If you get out of the 8-meter radius, you should be in the clear, but if you do take the hit from this set, you are going to be in a lot of pain, and this is especially going to be a problem if it's worn on a melee ganker, because basically the moth will instantly travel, and about the time you break free and roll dodge from the gank, this will explode on you, and you'll just have to take the damage. So this set is going to be incredibly obnoxious in that regard, and that's the first one I want to talk about. But the next set I want to talk about is also from the Oathsworn Pit. This is actually the monster set for this dungeon. It's called Anthelmere's Construct, and basically whenever you do a fully charged heavy attack, you yeet a tomahawk at your enemy's forehead, and it does a lot of damage and reduces their armor. And if you touch the tomahawk after it goes to the target, you can reduce the cooldown of this set by 5 seconds, so you can throw another one real quick. The travel time for this set is not too bad, and also the damage and the armor reduction is quite significant, especially for well, of course it's a monster set, so it's got to be quite good. But I like this set a lot, and I'm probably going to try and pick this one up once this dungeon comes out, but you can also see how this is going to be obnoxious for melee Nightblades. I mean, this will instantly hit them, you'll instantly pick up the Tomahawk, and it's going to do a lot of damage, reduce their armor, and since it travels faster than the Cinder Moth, this will be one of the first things that hits in your combo, so they'll have reduced armor for that duration, so yet another obnoxious proc set, and you're starting to see a trend here with these new sets. And the final proc set that we're going to be talking about is called Tarnished Nightmare. I'm picking this set up as soon as it comes out. The 2 through 4 piece is phenomenal, and also the 5 piece. Whenever you deal critical damage, your enemy explodes in an 8-meter AoE radius. Okay, so everyone takes the damage from this set if they're within 8 meters of your target. It applies the Sundered status effect, so it further reduces their armor, and it has an 8-second cooldown. Also, it's an instant damage proc, so there's no travel time to this. It's attached to whatever kind of critical damage you deal. So for gank builds, again, this is going to be incredibly obnoxious. It's quite loaded, and this set is incredible. And from my testing, it also ignores the global direct damage proc set cooldown. If you don't know, basically there should be a 1-second delay in between direct damage procs going off, but this can proc alongside stuff like Ashen Grip and Deadlands Assassin, so you'll have both of those hit at the same time. And well, I mean, that's going to be pretty obnoxious, but for how tanky people are, I think this will be pretty good. But this set is basically pre-patched Thundercaller when that set first came out, and I'm going to be using this set on a lot of builds. And for you gamers that use my one-shot bow and arrow Nightblade build, I'm going to be dropping Way of Fire and putting this on instead, because the results that you get with this set on are going to be incredible. And yeah, we're going to be living in a ganker's paradise next patch because of all the new proc sets and the buffs to Nightblade. So I'd recommend for you gamers next patch, make sure you got some D-Techs in your bank. And that covers a lot of the important changes, the things I think that you need to know going into Update 41. Now I want to talk about some PTS observations I've had recently. I submit report tickets on the PTS, okay, and nothing ever comes from them. I don't know why I submit them, but I want to talk about a few issues I've encountered on the PTS while I'm here. And they're pretty significant, and I hope they don't carry over into the live server when this update goes live, but from past experiences, they might. So, big one is setting new keybinds is not saving in the settings anymore. Whenever you set up your keybinds, it doesn't save. Swapping instances sets your keybinds to default, and it's incredibly annoying. So, like, if you queue into a BG, you have to reset your keybinds. If you, like, use a shrine to go transport somewhere else, you have to reset your keybinds. Wherever you go, as long as it's a new instance, you have to reset your keybinds every single time. I don't know what they did to do this, but it's incredibly annoying, and I don't like it. And the second one is I'm having some FPS problems. I'm not sure if it's on my end with my PC and like a cache problem or whatever, but whenever I'm standing still, I don't have any FPS problems. But when I start moving around, then I start dropping frames like crazy, and I don't know what it is. And I've looked for a fix, can't find one. Hopefully this is not a problem coming into update 41 either, but I really don't know. And it's just weird because I didn't have this problem the first 2 weeks of the PTS, but once we did the European transfer, I started getting this problem. So I'm not sure if it's a European server thing or whatever, but hopefully this does not go live once the update comes out, because if it does, well, there's going to be a flood of complaints. And while we're here, I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about the PTS itself. What in the world happened to the PTS with this PTS cycle? Why are all of the sets not collected anymore, and why do I have to spend 15 minutes going through the coffers in my inventory to pull out all the sets that I want? And why in the world are my crowns not refreshing every single week? I've noticed this over the last 2 patches that I'm not getting any more crowns. Normally your crowns should reset to 5,500 every single week, so you can continue to test stuff on the PTS, but my crowns have not ever come back, and I don't know what's going on, and eventually I know I'm gonna run out. Do I have to buy crowns to test on the PTS now? Like, seriously, what is going on? And also, when I do buy stuff in the crown store to try and increase my bag space or my inventory, whenever I swap instances or change to another character, that goes away. The upgrade just disappears. I don't know what's going on with that, and I don't like it, okay? It needs to stop. And I just don't understand, like, the old way of testing stuff on the PTS where you had everything collected and it was just all so simple, and I understood it and it worked. Now, with all these random changes, nothing works right, and also it's just so difficult to try and test literally anything, and it's so inconvenient. The only reason I could think that they did this is because they're trying to, like, do something with the crown store or whatever, or they're trying to make it so you have to buy crowns on the PTS in order to test stuff out of the crown store, which is a new low for ZeniMax. Like, they're gonna sell you, oh, you have all the items now collected, you gotta buy that in the crown store for 500 crowns, but your crowns don't refresh. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at this point, and that's ridiculous, but it's just really dumb, and this is my only way to really get it out, because submitting support tickets, they're just always ignored. So I'm just gonna bring it up in this video because there's some big problems, and this is my way of addressing them. So I'm sorry if it seems like I'm complaining. I am complaining. This is stupid, and it needs to get fixed. And yeah, here's hoping none of these issues actually come to the live server and become a big problem, but I don't know. This is ZeniMax, so it could literally go any way from here. And if you're still watching the video by this point, I want to offer you an invitation into our wonderful community. All you got to do is click that subscribe button, and you're now cool, okay? And if you want to take it a step further, I have a channel members available for you to join. All you got to do is click the little link in the description, and you get some really cool perks. These guys know how cool these perks are, and if you want to come hang out in our little social circle, I have a Discord. There's a link in the description for that as well. You can come talk to me, goof off in real time. We got memes, we got the best emojis, we got the best people, okay? It's the greatest place to hang out of all time, and you are more than welcome to join, all right? And yeah, thank you gamers for watching this video, and have a good